All right, week 4, day number 2, almost through the whole program. After day number 1, hopefully you have taken a rest day or at least an active recovery day. Week 4, as we talked about on day 1, you're going to be really pushing hard this week. This should be the hardest week of the program. And today we are going to really push it on these deadlifts. So you've got a 10-minute warm up. You're going to just go through those movements over and over for 10 minutes straight. However, if there's any additional warm up exercises that you think you need to do, that you think you need to add in, to help yourself get primed for the deadlifts, if you need to take time to have more warm up sets this week, whatever it might be, do that, because today on deadlifts, we've got 6 sets of 2. We're going to reset every single rep like we've been doing. And I want, on the 6 sets of 2, I want every set to be difficult. But on this particular day, we've got 6 sets. So I want you to ascend across the sets if need be. So say, last week you were deadlifting, 225 pounds. Maybe you were deadlifting 225 pounds on week 3 for 5x2, right? This week, I want you to start with your first set lower than your highest set last week. Lower than your highest set last week. And maybe you're only lower by, 20 pounds or something like that. And that's going to vary depending on how heavy you can lift. Like if you're lifting 400 pounds for your 2, you're gonna, 20 pounds is not gonna be that much difference. Like 380 is still gonna be heavy. Whereas if you're only deadlifting like 135, you may not want to drop 20 pounds because that's gonna be a huge drop for you at that weight. It's gonna be a bigger percentage drop. So if you're only deadlifting like 135, you might only want to drop off like 10 pounds. But start a little bit lighter this week. And then you're going to build up across the sets. And basically, I want you to get to, by the last set, by the 6x2, like that last 2 is going to be a 2-rep max. With good form. Make sure your back's not rounding. Make sure your back's staying nice and flat. Your form's staying tight. Your shoulders are raising before your hips. Okay, lead with the shoulders. Really, shoulders and hips should raise at the same time. But for most people, you have to think about raising your shoulders first to make sure that they raise at the same time. Otherwise, the butt goes up first. So on those deadlifts, really heavy, building to that 2-rep max across the 6 sets. Supersetting those still with 3 squat jumps, going high as possible on those squat jumps every single set, resting 2 minutes between supersets. But today, if you have time, you can rest longer between those supersets. We are going heavier, are building to a max. So if you need to rest 3-4 minutes this week, no problem at all. After that, we're going into cardio. We're increasing the duration of that cardio. Still that same borderline conversational pace. So you could probably carry on a conversation with somebody, but it would be somewhat difficult to carry on that conversation and somewhat annoying. It would be like if you're going for a jog with a friend and their pace is just barely too hard. Like you're still able to talk to them and carry on a conversation, but you're thinking, man, slow down just a little bit so I can talk. Or stop talking, right? So today we're going 4 rounds, 2 minutes on the cardio machine, 14 bent over dumbbell rows, 14 dumbbell thrusters, 2 minutes cardio machine, 14 stir the pots in each direction. You're going to pick your weights on those bent over dumbbell rows. It is double, so you're holding both arms at the same time, or dumbbells in both hands when you're doing the dumbbell rows. Like pick a weight that's going to be really challenging for 14, but you're not going to have to stop and break. You should be able to do all 14, and then you should be able to pretty well, with maybe at most a 10-second transition, go right into those 14 dumbbell thrusters. Do those 14 dumbbell thrusters all the way through without stopping as well. So here's where you pick a weight. Your weight's probably going to be more than it was in week number 1, right? Or in week 2, I think is where we started doing these exercises. So your weight is going to be higher probably now than it was in week 2. But you are going for 4 rounds, and you are going to have those 2 minutes of the cardio pieces each time. So we built up in the amount that we're going to do. This piece here has naturally gotten longer each week, or the intensity has increased a little bit. So like what we've done is we've kind of stepped up the intensity a little bit from week 1, and we've also stepped up the duration across the weeks. Now, if you have been doing that extra cardio every day on day 2, for the past 2 weeks, I have talked about, like, if you want to add on cardio, this is the long cardio day. This is that long conversational cardio meant to be like zone 2. So what you can do is you can add on cardio on the machine after this session. So as soon as you finish the 4 rounds, if you want to, you can hop back on that cardio machine, stay at that like 70-80% intensity, or like 70% heart rate, 70 to 80% heart rate. Stay at that. Just stay there for, as long as you want. Now, remember, we do want to build week to week to week. This is a 4-week block. It's a 4-week program, so you want to build across those 4 weeks. So like, ideally every week you want to do more. So like last week, if you did 5 minutes of extra cardio, this week you may want to do 7 minutes of extra cardio, or 8 minutes, or 10 minutes of extra cardio, right? Because this is the last week, so this should be your highest peak week. And then after this, you're going to go in and repeat the program. Now, if you go to repeat the program and you do have more time on your hands, this program is designed to be 45 minutes or an hour at the most. So like what you can do is you can add more cardio on top of right from week 1, right? Right from week 1, you could add more of that steady state cardio on that machine. Maybe at week 1, you do your rounds, and then you do 10 minutes, right? And then week 2, you do 13 minutes. And then week 3, you do 16 minutes additional. And then week 4, you do 20 minutes additional, right? And you kind of build upon that from week to week to week. But just if you do, just stay at that same intensity. Don't go crazy and go to adding all kinds of intensity, running at 90% efforts. That's what our day 1 is for. Day 1 is to really hit that like 90%, like hit that high intensity. So you can use, if you're repeating the program after this, you can use week 1, like on week 1, week 2, or on day 1, you can add more rounds of that cardio we're doing, where we do like the 20-second intervals, the 15-second intervals, the 10-second intervals. All you got to do is, if you're going back through this program and you're repeating it again, add more rounds, right? Add more rounds. Like, that's one way that you can adjust and modify and keep increasing and progressing. But more is not always better. So if you're getting good results off this program, you may just want to repeat it as is. And then if you're still getting good results, repeat it as is again. And a lot of times people change up programs when there's no need to change. If it works, keep doing it. If the same program works for 30 years, keep doing the same exact program for 30 years. Don't change if you don't need to. Only change when you have to. So that is it for week number 4, day number 2. After this session, make sure get some carbohydrates in, some good clean carbohydrates. After a really, really intense workout, you can, if you don't have any sugar issues, diabetes, or nothing like that, I mean, man, you can even take in some straight up sugar right after a workout, especially if you have jiu-jitsu going on. Maybe you have a second session later in the day, you're doing jiu-jitsu later in the day. Like, man, if you're doing that, like, get in some real immediate carbs. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll have a bowl of Lucky Charms or something like that. It's the time to have sugar, right? If you're gonna have sugar at any time in the day, it would be directly after your workout, because it's gonna help get that glycogen back into your muscle and help you get recovered faster for that next workout. So get your protein, get your carbohydrates, and get yourself ready, because week 4, day number 3, the last day of this program, is coming. We'll see you then.